This is India at 9, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Rajdeep Sardesai.
Good evening, hello and welcome to India at 9. As always, the news, the newsmakers, the talking points are here on India at 9. This Wednesday night, Arvind Kejriwal has let off a bomb, or is it a full jaddi? He's taken on Reliance boss Mukesh Ambani. It's our top focus tonight.
ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे भारत सरकार एजेंट है। इस देश को मनमोहन सिंह नहीं चला रहे, मुकेश अंबानी चला रहे हैं।
Reliance boss Mukesh Ambani, not Manmohan Singh, is running the government. India against corruption activist Arvind Kejriwal now targets corporate India, claims the gas pricing policy and the removal of Jaipal Reddy as petroleum minister was done at the Ambani's behest. Reliance says charges are baseless. Kejriwal targeting Ambani. Is the charge of crony capitalism valid? Special panel coming up on India at 9. We'll also have a face-off between Prashant Bhushan and Manishankar Iyer, former petroleum minister and India against corruption member. In our other headlines tonight, Cyclone Neelam hits near Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu with wind speeds now touching 100 kilometers. More than 3,500 people evacuated. The Met Department says, though, it will weaken as it hits the coast. In the United States, the New York Stock Exchange opens after 2 days of forced closure. The Dow up strongly, but 33 people killed, millions without electricity. Massive floods and fires caused losses worth 20 billion and counting.
You want to attack people, attack them directly. Don't go through families and don't go through. Don't be cheap. Don't stoop to such lows.
Sunanda Pushkar hits back at Narendra Modi's 50 crore jibe. Tells CNN IBN she did not expect the Gujarat Chief Minister to stoop so low. She speaks to CNN IBN. Another business pullout from West Bengal after Tata's exit from Shingur. Cargo handler ABG exits Haldia, alleging a complete breakdown of law and order. 3 East Bengal and Prayag United footballers and their cook are accused of raping a 14-year-old. 2 arrested so far. East Bengal says its players have been framed. And your TVs in 3 major metros could go blank tomorrow if you haven't got a digital box. Only Chennai gets 5 more days to switch to digital TV. But first tonight, our top focus. After Robert Vadra, Salman Khurshid and Nitin Gadkari, Arvind Kejriwal today targeted Mukesh Ambani and Reliance Industries. In his press conference, Kejriwal alleged that crony capitalists are dictating government policies to benefit them. He cited a portion of radio tapes where Atal Bihari Vajpayee's son-in-law Ranjan Bhattacharya claims Mukesh Ambani told him that Congress to ab apni dukaan hai. He alleged that cabinet ministers are being replaced at Ambani's insistence, said that Jaipal Reddy was replaced by Moily as petroleum minister because he was unwilling to raise gas prices. In 2006, Murli Deora replaced Manishankar Iyer to increase Reliance Industries' capex. Kejriwal said the EGOM headed by Pranab Mukherjee revised the gas price in 2007 at RIL's insistence, and he questioned whether the Prime Minister was succumbing to corporates under compulsion or out of ignorance. Listen in.
बीजेपी भी उन्हीं की जेब में है, कांग्रेस भी उन्हीं की जेब में है। पिछले 2000 से लेके आज तक का इतिहास ये दिखाता है कि इन्होंने दादागिरी करने के सिवा कुछ नहीं किया और भारत सरकार इनके सामने बिल्कुल बेबस नजर आती है। उन्होंने $4.25 मांगा रिलायंस वालों ने और सरकार ने कहा ठीक है, आप $4.25 के हिसाब से 2014 तक ये गैस दे दीजिए। ऐसा क्यों किया सरकार ने? 2.25 से 4.25 पे क्यों मानी सरकार? रिलायंस को फायदा क्यों पहुंचाया? जरूर रिलायंस ने कुछ ना कुछ कहीं ना कहीं किसी मंत्री की जेब भरी होगी, इसीलिए पहुंचाया। तो एक प्रश्न उठता है कि देश की सरकार को चला कौन रहा है? टेलीकॉम मिनिस्टर अपॉइंट करना होता है तो टाटा और दूसरी टेलीकॉम कंपनी अपॉइंट करती हैं। पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्टर अपॉइंट करना होता है तो रिलायंस वाले अपॉइंट करते हैं। आप वोट चाहे बीजेपी को दे दो चाहे कांग्रेस को दे दो, देश तो रिलायंस वाले ही चलाते हैं, देश तो मुकेश अंबानी चलाते हैं।
कि अगर इनको $14.25 दे दिए तो देश को 45,000 करोड़ रुपए का नुकसान होगा और रिलायंस को 45,000 करोड़ रुपए का 2 साल में फायदा होगा। तो जयपाल रेड्डी जी ने कहा कि इनको ये नहीं दिया जाना चाहिए और उसकी सजा जयपाल रेड्डी जी को भुगतनी पड़ी। उनको मंत्रिमंडल से हटा दिया गया।
Some of these things were there in the public domain, but they had never, all of them were not in public domain, they had never been put together, and now it became clear that the ouster of Jayapal Reddy was on account of all this. Our target is this system of crony capitalism. That crony capitalism in this country has taken such deep roots and has such an all-pervading character that the entire establishment is controlled by this.
Now, Reliance Industries has reacted tonight, saying the statements made by India against corruption in the press conference today are devoid of any truth or substance whatsoever, and are denied, and that irresponsible allegations made by IAC at the behest of vested interests without basic understanding of the complexities of a project of this nature do not merit a response. But Arvind Kejriwal is holding firm. He insists he is not targeting any individuals but the system. He spoke to Rupashri Nanda.
So who was your major target today? Was it Mr. Mukesh Ambani, or was it the Prime Minister, was it Mr. Pranab Mukherjee? But because you've targeted all of them, you've named all of them today. Even Ranjan Bhattacharya for that matter. Quite a few people from the political business spectrum.
We are not targeting individuals. We have no enmity with any party or any person. We have always said that. We want to expose the system. We want to tell them that there is a company which is full of greed. There is an industrialist who is full of greed, and he is subverting the system. It was the duty of the Prime Minister to stop them. It was the duty of the opposition to raise this issue. Neither the PM is stopping them because there seems to be corruption involved, nor the opposition is taking up this issue because they also seem to be involved. And this industrialist seems to have bribed every single person in the system.
So who is going to be your next target?
The system. We will, next few expose are going to be on finding out what is the reason for price rise in this country.
Okay. Arvind Kejriwal says he's targeting the system. How is the system reacting? Listen in to political reactions, including from two former petroleum ministers.
I have not heard Kejriwal. I don't have the documents. Therefore, I cannot make any comment. But I am now Minister for Science and Technology. If you have any questions on that, please answer. Please raise them.
प्रधानमंत्री का हक बनता है कि वो अपने मंत्रीगण को चुने और कि जो पोर्टफोलियो उनको देना है वो ही तय करते हैं। ये सब मामले मेरे जाने के बाद ही उभर कर आए हैं। तो आप ये सवाल जयपाल रेड्डी जी से पूछिएगा। आई डोंट थिंक एनी कॉर्पोरेट डिसाइडेड दैट आई वुड बी मेड मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स एंड यूथ अफेयर्स।
और पार्टी अध्ययन करने के बाद उस पर विस्तार से अगर जरूरत होगी तो प्रतिक्रिया उस पर व्यक्त करेगी। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि ये जो हिट एंड रन की मासिक मंडी और साप्ताहिक बाजार चल रहा है, इस पर हर दिन प्रतिक्रिया दी जाए और हर दिन उसका जवाब दिया जाए, इसका कोई अर्थ नहीं है।
Okay, so the political class slowly distancing itself from Arvind Kejriwal. But remember, the CBI has investigated some of these allegations raised against Reliance and have carried out 3 preliminary inquiries on the KG basin. The big question, what really has happened to those inquiries? Arunima has more.
P number 3, which was about how Reliance was allowed to go scot-free in spite of not relinquishing 25% of the KG Basin area as per its contract with Government of India. That is the preliminary inquiry which has not been closed by CBI yet. CBI's investigating team feels that a loss was caused to the Exchequer when the then DG Hydrocarbons decided to levy a penalty on RIL, which was of a very small amount, and therefore this amounts to a Prevention of Corruption Act case. However, top officials of CBI felt that there is no evidence to suggest a criminal case should be lodged, and therefore the matter has now gone to the Law Ministry, to the Attorney General's office. In June, this matter was referred to him, and CBI officials say that they are yet to hear anything on this matter. It's only once the AG's opinion comes will CBI decide if indeed a case should be registered against the officials of Oil Ministry and RIL.
but the big question, Kejriwal targets Ambani. Is the charge of crony capitalism a valid one? Joining us now, Sunil Jain, opinion editor of the Financial Express, joins us. Paranjoy Gua Thakurta, senior journalist and economist. Siddharth Zarabi, economic policy editor of CNBC TV18. Meenakshi Lekhi of the BJP joins us. SP Tulsian, investment advisor who tracks Reliance closely, joins us. We'll also be joined later by Mani Shankar Iyer and Prashant Bhushan. Two sides of this story. But Sunil Jain, the precise charge that has been made, that the Ambanis managed to ensure successive escalations of the price at which they were going to get gas from $2.4 a barrel in 2006, pushing to $14.2 now, and that the government, far from raising a red flag, went along with that. Is that a fair charge to establish what Arvind Kejriwal claims he wants to do? Crony capitalism is at work.
I think there's a combination of fact and fiction in what Arvind Kejriwal has done. The best example of this being what he began by saying, that I don't know how Reliance got this gas field in 2000. There's an international bid. Now Kejriwal is ignoring that. So I'm saying there's a fact and fiction stuff. If you're looking at, how did this $4.2 come? Reliance had a bid. I think that there was a problem with the bid in the sense that the bid was done with a very few number of people. It went to Mr. Rangarajan, who was the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council chief. Rangarajan looked at the price. He looked at other prices and broadly said the price seems to be okay, though I think it could have been better and we should, rebid. I think the government made a mistake here that it didn't get a rebid there. But I think what we need to keep in mind is 3 or 4 things. Right throughout this time, when the price was done, we found the government was buying gas, private people were buying gas at a similar sort of price. As far as the $14 is concerned, there is no question, zero question of anyone giving Reliance that money. In 2014, there will be another bid. When that bid is done, you'll get a price out of that. So there's no question of just saying that you or I or the Prime Minister of India can tell Reliance is going to be $13 or $14 or $15.
Okay, fact and fiction. Has Kejriwal merged the two, or do you believe that he has provided a powerful case, Paranjoy, to suggest that the entire agreement initially also was heavily weighted in favor of Reliance, and that really Reliance and the centre have much to answer for in the manner in which the original argument was shaped, that Reliance would get, some would say, windfall profits out of the price of gas?
Okay. Before that, a disclaimer. Thank you for calling me on your program. I'm aware that your channel has an association with Mr. Mukesh Ambani and Reliance Industries.
That's right. I also want to say the disclaimer is Reliance is not a direct investor in Network 18.
I'm aware of that.
Otherwise, I would have put the disclaimer right at the start.
No, I'm merely making.
Yes,
I said
point taken. I have no issues with that.
I also want to say that I have a book coming up on the subject. But firstly, this thing about the production sharing contract being heavily weighted against the interests of the government, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, is a contention that has been made by the Controller and Auditor General of India.
Yes.
Every single bit of information that was put out by Prashant Bhushan and Arvind Kejriwal in today's press conference was already in the public domain. Not a single fact was not in the public domain. What they've done is they tried to connect the dots and draw certain inferences, and what you might say is circumstantially tried to indicate that the reason why Mr. Jaipal Reddy was, and I hold that opinion, I agree with that opinion, was literally kicked upstairs to the science and technology industry, had a lot to do with the fact that the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas and RIL were not seeing eye to eye on a number of issues pertaining to the Krishna Godavari gas project. Okay, this included the price of gas. This included the manner in which capital expenditures were to be reimbursed. It also included whole issues about the number of wells dug, number of issues. I mean, it was not just one issue, but a series of issues.
But can I just hold you on one thing? Yeah. There are two views on Jaipal Reddy. There is one that he was removed because he was resisting any attempt being made to re-evaluate or change the gas pricing policy vis-a-vis Reliance. The other view is that he was an inefficient minister, that for all Jaipal Reddy's honesty, he was an inefficient minister. Where is the truth there? Let me get Siddharth and then get Siddharth. You follow this ministry. Is it true that Reliance could have the clout to ensure that Jaipal Reddy was moved out?
Well, you know, ministers have been changed continuously, and if he was bought in, then they could have probably prevented that and not let Mr. Deora go out. But the point is, as far as Mr. Jaipal Reddy's specific action on this point is concerned, it was rejected by the Jayapal Reddy ministry in January 2012, the proposal to hike a price. So if there was a political game underway, I'm just saying this from outside, then January, February, March could have been the time. Why wait till November or October? And that's my point really.
Did Jayapal Reddy give benefits to Reliance in a, did not give benefits to Reliance in a manner that maybe a Murli Deora and predecessors did? Murli Deora has never hidden the fact that he was close to Reliance.
Reddy only said that let's go by the 5-year term that the previous EGOM under Pranab Mukherjee has fixed. That's it.
Can I make 2 points here? One, there is no doubt that the Petroleum Ministry in the past has favored Reliance. A classic example of this is Murli Deora not allowing Anil Ambani's gas to be sold to him because, you know, so I think there is enough evidence to show that the ministry has been pro-Reliance when Murli Deora was there. I think the point that we need to make about Jayapal Reddy...
Mukesh Ambani's gas being sold to Anil Ambani.
I think there are 2 points that we need to make about Jayapal Reddy, who's now being lionized as this hero who's been victimized by Reliance. And Mukesh Ambani told the PM, get rid of this guy, so he was got rid of. I think what are the 2-3 points we need to make? One, we need to make a point that when the first CAG report came, there has been evidence or there has been allegations of gold plating. So the CAG report was put in. The CAG analyzed the data for 2006 and 7, and the CAG said, I don't understand this, but I'm deeply uncomfortable with the fact that a lot of bids have been given by Reliance to companies based on a single bid.
That's right.
So the CAG told Mr. Jayapal Reddy, I don't know how to do this. I suggest here are 10 contracts. I want you to evaluate them. Mr. Jayapal Reddy did not evaluate them. So, you know, to make him out to be hero, I think is a bit much. Second point, Jayapal Reddy has been alleging, and a lot of people have been making the same point, that Reliance is deliberately blackmailing the government.
Yes.
That they're keeping production down because they want the price to go up to, as Kejriwal said, $14. But you know, Mr. Jayapal Reddy had all the reservoir data of Reliance. He could easily have called in experts in the world to say, listen, is there a problem with this reservoir? Or is Reliance just deliberately fudging stuff?
He didn't do that. Okay.
He didn't do that.
So there are questions over Jayapal Reddy as well. But the point is, the perception is out there that Reliance does, as you all admit, at some stage or the other, exercise disproportionate influence over the Petroleum Ministry. And Meenakshi Lekhi is interesting. Many of these facts, as Paranjoy says, have been in the public domain. The Director General of Hydrocarbons is facing an inquiry. The regulator is facing it. There's a CAG report. Despite that, no opposition party has chosen to raise this. You raise every CAG report at the slightest opportunity, but the CAG report on KG Basin is not touched by the opposition. This is what leads to the suspicion that somewhere both the Congress and the BJP are colluding to protect Reliance.
I don't agree with you, Rajdeep, because CAG's report have been in public domain and we've been making a lot of noise about the whole thing.
Not on KG Basin.
Even on your channel.
You have not raised the KG Basin issue.
I have spoken.
Yes.
I have spoken 2 days back, 3 days back. In fact, when I was listening to Arvind Kejriwal's press meet, I was saying this is exactly what I have been speaking for past 3 days. What's the new? Is he speaking the same language as I am? In fact, there are articles written about it.
Yes.
In fact, all the panelists today on your channel are speaking the identical language.
Yes.
So it's when the entire matter is with CAG, everyone is speaking about it, and BJP also raised the issue of shifting of Jayapal Reddy at this stage. So the question was, as the gentleman just now said, that it's not about efficiency of Jayapal Reddy, but it's about the timing. And the timing, when you say that the particular decision was made in January and he continues till November, so there is no connection. But let me tell you about the pricing. Jayapal Reddy stood forth and he says we are not going to change the price because this is the contractual term and contract stands till 2014.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, the CAG report, no ma'am, the CAG report came several months ago. I did not see the BJP raise it in Parliament.
Allow me, of course BJP was too busy with so many issues. Where was the Parliament functioning? And we were raising this issue. In fact, 3 days back, I have been speaking.
Okay, that's in the last 3 days.
On this.
That's in the last 3 days.
And I happen to be from BJP.
That's in the last 3 days.
In last 3 days, this conference has happened today.
Yes. Okay.
This press conference has happened today. You should have picked it up 3 days back.
Okay.
Now another thing. When the pricing was to be changed, the story twists a bit because PMO sends that can we change the price?
Yes.
The Jayapal Reddy says this is a decision by an empowered group of ministers,
yes.
and empowered group of ministers only look into it. I shall take no decision. The file is sent to Attorney General for his opinion. The Attorney General sends the file back saying that this is a matter which is in the realm of policy and has got nothing to do with law. So far as contract is concerned, contract stands and the expiry date of the contract is 2014. So before that, all this is happening. And all this, BJP has been speaking, even I have spoken.
Okay,
3 days back on the reshuffling occasion when he's speaking.
Hold on, the reshuffle has prompted a debate, but there is a question whether...
And Jaswant Singh has issued a press release.
Yes, no, I know that Jaswant Singh, your senior leader, has issued a press release questioning the manner in which Jaipal Reddy has been removed and suggesting that it has been done at the behest of corporates.
Mr. Venkaiah Naidu raised this issue.
Okay, hold on. It's been done in the last 3 days. I was talking about the CAG report, which came out several months ago. Mr. Tulsian, you were busy with coal at the time. Okay, you preferred coal over petroleum. Let's leave it at that. SP Tulsian, how critical, Mr. Tulsian, ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am, just a minute. SP Tulsian, how critical is this gas agreement to Reliance's financial bottom line? Reliance sold 30% stake in 21 of the 29 oil blocks to British Petroleum last year at $7.2 billion. Arvind Kejriwal today says this is money which belongs to the country. This is again violative, he believes, of the agreement between the government and Reliance.
Rajdeep, first let me, clarify. I have been hearing all the panelists here. First, let me tell you that whatever the informations which we have been talking of being in the public domain seems to have been presented first broken into the pieces and then presented just one fact of one part of that information of the public domain. Just quickly summarize, the EGOM, because the Arvind Kejriwal has said that the Pranab Mukherjee has allowed the price of $4.2 per MBTU to the Reliance Industries, but that has been approved by EGOM, in which there were 8 members. Similar is the case with the judgment of the Supreme Court of 7th May 2010, where all 3 judges have upheld the validity of the price basis or the price formula having approved by EGOM. Now, thirdly, the Arvind Kejriwal has said that there is an over benefit of 45,000 crore. I am unable to understand. It's a simple math. Whether you are calculating on 80 SCMD or on the current production of 27 SCMD, and even if you take a differential of $10, 4.2 minus 14.2, I don't think you get a figure of close to about 62,000 crore. And, apart from that, there have been the notice issued by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry for this. No, I'm just giving you the background. Now I'm coming, Rajdeep, on your question that yes, ultimately this is very material for Reliance Industries, because firstly we must understand that in any production sharing contract, first the expenses are covered or maybe recovered by the contractor, and any delay in recovery is not compensated in the form of the interest. There is no interest clause, there is no interest benefit given to the contractor. So obviously the common sense says that Reliance Industries should not delay the process of recovery of their capex which they have spent on the KG D6, which to a great extent they have recovered. $5.8 billion they have recovered. Now coming on the 30% interest which they have given to the BG for $7.2 billion. Obviously, if any delay is happening, that will be seen quite negative for the Reliance Industries company's bottom line, because still they are holding 60% stake in this oil field. So yes, it has been in fact.
Hold on to those thoughts. You are saying that it is critical for Reliance's financial bottom line. I just want to bring in Mani Shankar Iyer at this moment. Former Petroleum Minister joins us, because Mr. Iyer, very specific allegation was made by Arvind Kejriwal that in 2006 you were removed and Murli Deora, who is friendly to the Ambanis, was brought in to increase Reliance's capex from $2.39 billion to $8.8 billion and to increase the gas price from $2.34 to $4.2 per barrel. Respond to that. Were you at any stage? Yes.
Firstly, it is not per barrel. It is per million British thermal units.
Yes.
All right. But on the day that I was removed, no issue relating to gas prices or to the capex had come before me. The only issues that had come were, there were no issues relating to Reliance that were before me. And therefore, if the charge is that it was the issue of gas pricing that led to my being removed, I'm afraid there's a disjunct between the conclusion that has been reached and the facts of the matter. Secondly,
yes,
I think I personally was not very happy at the decision to raise the minimum price of gas from 2.34 to 4.20, because I do believe that if you think that the market is a good place, then if you make a wrong decision, you pay for it and you don't get yourself bailed out. But the Supreme Court has said quite correctly that it is for government to make policy, and in these terms, the price of gas was raised. Now, with regard to the extent issues, the 4.20 having been already decided, according to the, with regard to the extent issues, all the questions raised by Jayapal Reddy continue to remain on the table. No one has taken a decision yet.
But
Mr. Moily will have to confront. Mr. Moily will.
Yes. So would
Mr. Moily, let me finish.
Yes.
Mr. Moily will have to face exactly the same issues. So I think it's premature for Mr. Bhushan to jump to the conclusion that because an individual has been changed, the questions have been resolved. They haven't. All the questions are still on the table.
Let Prashant Bhushan respond. Prashant Bhushan, Mani Shankar Iyer says you cannot infer by the fact that he was removed from the Petroleum Ministry to suggest that it was done at the behest of Reliance, because he says the issues which were pending in 2006 are still pending in 2012.
No, that's
not
true.
My question. The ones before.
You see, when Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer was removed, at that point there were two major issues which came up. One was the price of the gas itself, which Reliance itself had agreed in a tender which they had accepted from NTPC to supply 2.34 for 17 years, and with this Anil Ambani to supply for 20 years for 2.34. At that stage, the government of India unilaterally, under Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, decided to increase the price for no good reason, as Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer agrees, to 4.20. Now, therefore, this decision was coming up in this ministry around that time when Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer was removed. Secondly, the issue of increasing their capital expenditure, which was increased from 2.3 billion to 8.8 billion for just doubling their production from 40 to 80 mm SCMD. That issue was also going to come up very shortly.
But
it
Prashant,
was at that stage
Mani Shankar Iyer denies that.
Shankar Iyer was removed.
Prashant, Mani Shankar Iyer denies that.
All right, very good. But as soon as he was removed, we are not very anxious to give Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer a certificate. We can withdraw that certificate. But the fact is that after he was removed, these two utterly dishonest decisions were taken. Number one, to increase unilaterally for the government of India to increase the price to 4.20, thereby giving Reliance a windfall gain of tens of thousands of crores at the cost of the consumers and at the cost of the public exchequer. And secondly, to increase their capital expenditure from 2.3 billion to 8.8 billion, resulting in a much bigger loss to the government of India, because now the implication of this price increase or this capital expenditure increase, as we have explained, would be that they will now continue to retain the next 10 or the next $15 billion of profits that they make for themselves, which should have otherwise gone to the government of India.
You know, Mani Shankar, the point is you were replaced by Murli Deora. Murli Deora, to his credit, has never hidden the fact that he was close to the Ambanis. So naturally, the perception will be that you were removed because you were inconvenient. Murli Deora was brought in because he was more convenient. Would you concede that in perception terms, the government lost out?
Maybe in perceptual terms and in your perception the government lost out. But the facts of the matter are that I was given this portfolio on a temporary basis because my permanent portfolio was Panchayati Raj. I had thought that a temporary allocation of this portfolio would be for about 20 days. As a matter of fact, it became 20 months. And while Mr. Bhushan says that these two major issues were going to be coming up, as far I had no idea at all that they would be coming up, Because while I was there, the policy was clearly that the price of gas would be discovered in the market through a transparent and arm's length process. That was the formula that was taught to me, and I was repeating that formula. Now, they have had a change, but I don't know why I'm being dragged into this. I'm certainly not looking for any certificates from Prashant Bhushan and other people who have a dodgy background. I am not looking for that. So I think he's arrogant in saying he's going to withdraw his certificate. I never asked for his certificate.
Hold on.
And insofar as the key issues are concerned, which is the issues before Jayapal Reddy, all those issues are still on the table. How can Prashant Bhushan jump to a conclusion before the government has taken the decision?
Okay, let me bring in Paranjoy. Yes.
Two observations.
Yes.
I think the fact that the reason for Mr. Manishankar's being divested of the portfolio of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas not only had something to do with the gas prices which Reliance had, but also had a lot to do with the fact that he was keen on expeditiously building a pipeline connecting Iran and India through Pakistan. Having said that, second point I want to say, Mr. Jayapal Reddy became the Petroleum Minister in January 2011.
Yes.
If indeed the government felt that the prices should go up, the price of gas should, what prevented the government from having another EGOM to overturn or review the decision of the earlier EGOM? And one last comment, I can't resist this. I met a source very close to the government at the time when Mr. Manishankar Iyer was the petroleum minister, who suggested that there was something sinister about increasing the price of gas from 2.34 to 4.20, and he suggested 420 had a special connotation in India.
No, point taken, but Siddharth Zarabi, you also, because you say that Reliance actually has also been battling with the government for the last 3 years.
Completely. The development plan and capex for wells other than KGD6 remains stuck. In the last week, days before Mr. Jayapal Reddy was removed, there was a story which said that approval has come through. As of today, we believe that approval has not yet been received or given by the government. So, there is a lot of give and take. A last minute attempt was made to remove a hurdle as far as RL's development plans are concerned, as far as the oil ministry is concerned.
We are again coming down to Prashant Bhushan, to the inferences you make. Nobody doubts that you've thrown a lot of smoke. The question is, how do you put 2 and 2 together to clearly make the full circle, to make it 4? How do you make it 4? Because you can infer that Reliance has acquired certain benefits. The matters have gone to the courts. There is a CBI inquiry, and yet you today will say that the government of the day and the Prime Minister's office has gone out of the way to protect Reliance's concerns.
All right, so let us look at the facts. Fact number 1, that a contract was given which is structured in a manner which creates a huge incentive for Reliance to inflate their costs, because the more their costs, the more their own profits at the expense of the government of India's profits. That's what the CAG report says in so many words. That it incentivizes. That's what the Ashok Chawla committee report also says. Fact number 2, that even in 2004-05, when Reliance had themselves accepted 2.34 as the price of gas for the next 20 years, at that point of time the government unilaterally increased the price to 4.20, thereby giving a huge windfall to Reliance. Fact number 3, that Reliance thereafter started demanding, they increased their capital expenditure from 2.3 to 8.8, which was totally unwarranted, yet agreed to by the government and this Director General of Hydrocarbons. Thereafter, Reliance started demanding the increase of price to 14.20. Mr. Jayapal Reddy resists this. They decreased their production from 80 to 27. Mr. Jayapal Reddy sends a penalty notice to them. At that point, the Prime Minister asks Mr. Jayapal Reddy to seek the opinion of the Attorney General on their price increase. Attorney General says it's a policy decision of the government. Mr. Jayapal Reddy says, I take the policy decision that we will not increase the price. The Prime Minister tells him, refer it to the EGOM. and the matter has now been referred to the EGOM, and he has been shunted out of the ministry, so that he no longer remains within the EGOM also. What do these facts suggest?
Manisha Garat, what do these facts suggest? Is there a clear, you've been in the petroleum ministry, would you say that you were ever, when you were in petroleum ministry, under any pressure from Reliance to help them out? Honest answer. Did they ever come to you seeking favors that you would not bestow on anyone else?
All right, I'll answer your second question if you'll give me the opportunity to answer the first points that were raised by Prashant Bhushan.
Yes.
My answer is that I was never asked by anybody, the Prime Minister, the Congress President, anybody else, to take any particular decision in favor of or against any single player in the oil sector.
Yes.
But there was one instance when in response to the rising crude prices, it was decided to bring the duties on crude and the duties on petroleum products more into alignment with each other, and Mr. Ambani met me to say that that harmed the interests of the Jamnagar refinery. And I said to him that there are many good reasons for why we've decided to reduce the difference between the two sets of duties, and there's no question of our revising that. And there was no further consequence because all this
That's the only time.
If my memory is right, in August 2004. In fact, I never met Mr. Ambani except when he first called on me and gave a very interesting small presentation on the oil sector. And the second time he met me was with regard to these duties. That was August 2004. And for the next year and a half nearly, Mr. Ambani never met me. I never asked to meet him.
Okay. Okay, you are saying...
Insofar as Mr. Prashant Bhushan is concerned, I don't know why he wants to twist his own words. He just quoted to you from the CAG report. The CAG report says that in certain scenarios, it could conceivably lead to this kind of gold plating. Now the job of the DGH is to see whether in any given scenario it is leading to gold plating or whether it is genuinely acceptable. And wherever the DGH, I don't know why he twists that. Then in regard to, he claims that these issues were coming up. I didn't know that they were coming up. He can be wise in hindsight.
So far as gold plating is concerned.
Yes, Prashant, go ahead.
So far as gold plating is concerned, the CAG has said that there is enough evidence of gold plating. They have said that we found that the payments during 2006-7-8 revealed instances of huge procurement contracts where we could not derive an assurance as to the reasonableness of the costs incurred, primarily due to lack of adequate competition, award on single financial bids, major revision in scope, quantity specifications, post-price bid opening, substantial variation orders with consequential adverse implications for cost recovery and Government of India's financial take. In particular, regarding the MA oil field, we found that well before submission, let alone approval of the field development plan and mining lease application, the operator had placed orders for various critical items for development activities from 2006 itself. We also found serious deficiencies in the award on a single financial bid of a 10-year hiring contract for 1.1 billion for a floating production storage offloading from Acre floating production. So therefore, the CAG has found, and that is why that gentleman, the Director General of Hydrocarbons, Mr. V.K. Sibbal, was ordered to be investigated by the CBI, by the CBC itself.
So
that's the action being taken.
Yeah, but the action has been taken post facto. The action has been taken post facto.
The action. Yes, of course, it's been taken post facto because you don't invest a crime until it's committed.
Okay, point.
Ex ante. What a silly point to make.
No, but let's look at the big picture. The big picture, Sunil, it's coming down to whether it's 2G spectrum, whether it's coal mines. In this instance now, with oil and gas, the charge is made of cronyism. That the corporates which have connections in Delhi get the benefits because the system is opaque and non-transparent. Would that be the big message at least coming out? Forget the details at the moment. Reliance says the charges are baseless. Kejriwal is piecing together all that has come in the papers over the last several months. Is the larger picture the worry? The full journey that he has is illuminating at least the fact that there exists crony capitalism that benefits a few at the cost of others.
Rajdeep, if you say that is there cronyism, the answer to that has to be yes.
So that's all. All that Kejriwal wants to make. That's the point he says he wants to make.
Kejriwal is making 4 or 5 points. Prashant Bhushan is making 4 or 5 points. I think one, it's very clear, as Prashant said, the production sharing contract does encourage people to inflate costs. So that production sharing contract needs to be changed. I think there's no doubt about it. I think what is very, very clear is that the great Jayapal Reddy, who's being talked about now, did not investigate. This is a point that Prashant made. Yes. The CAG said that these contracts have to be looked at. Mr. Jayapal Reddy did not look at them. I think when you look at the fact that the gas prices went up to $4.2, there could be a problem here, but we need to keep in mind the fact that if you look at anybody who was buying gas at that time, they were buying gas at higher prices. Last point, when we're looking at the capex increase of Reliance, they could be gold plating. This is what Mr. Jayapal Reddy needed to investigate. But Rajdeep, let's keep in mind, you look at any contract, whether it's that of NTPC or ONGC or BHEL, every company has cost overrun. So we cannot assume just because there's a cost overrun that there's a problem.
Okay. The final word from you, Paranjoy, also. Do you believe that this case establishes cronyism, or there's a suspicion which needs to be backed by greater evidence?
I do believe that the evidence that is already present just reeks of cronyism. I think the big message is that there is a section of the corporate world, and there are politicians who depend on each other. There is a corrupt nexus between this section of business and this section of politics. I think this is the fountainhead of corruption in this country. I do believe that the way in which the whole production sharing contract, the way the whole pricing was worked out is completely flawed. It went against the interests of the country. Now, how efficient or inefficient Mr. Jayapal Reddy was as a minister, time alone will tell. But having made him the minister, and then kicking him upstairs, in my opinion, the government has committed a series of self-goals because it has cleared the pitch for Mr. Veerappa Moily. And if he does anything now, it's going to be seen as one more big story. So, in a sense,
point taken. Siddharth, is that the worry now? That what Kejriwal has done effectively is make the system even more defensive?
Absolutely. You have 18 months left. 2014 was the natural date for reviewing this. That is also election year. But the larger point is, within all of this, this government has continuously failed to fix the energy pricing matrix. You know, you have problems with everything in telecom except telecom tariffs. The only reason, because the regulator is completely empowered to fix tariffs and has left them to the market. In this, the government got into this in the first instance. UPA 1 said we will do this, told the Supreme Court 10 different things. Now it has got into such a big ditch that it will not be able to extricate itself, because the government has finger, foot, head, everything inside the PSC as far as pricing is concerned. Leave it to a regulator. Why doesn't Manmohan Singh do that?
Let me ask my two parliamentarians in conclusion. There's a parliament session coming up in 3 weeks. Meenakshi Lekhi, you first. Will you raise this issue? You told us honestly, you all were busy with the coal mine issue in the last session. Will you raise the CAG report on the KG basin in this parliament session?
I'm sure, provided the parliament functions and provided the answer keep coming, it does not happen that questions are raised and it is not allowed. But one important factor which I was coming to was about the crony capitalism, and somebody came up with that these prices are needed for the contractors, but those prices are needed provided the work is done. In this case, the wells have not been dug up. So end of the day, the contracts have to be fair to the country, which is not what has happened.
All I was asking was a yes or no to whether it will be raised in Parliament. Mani Shankar Iyer, do you believe the issue that Arvind Kejriwal is taking to the streets in a sense? Whatever his tactics, they may be hit. Hold on, Meenakshi Lekhi. Arvind Kejriwal may be doing hit and run politics, taking these issues to the streets, but he's at least taking issues, whether it's Robert Vadra, whether it's Mukesh Ambani, people who are often not talked about so openly. Will there be a parliament debate on the KG Basin CAG report, you believe, Mani Shankar Iyer?
if it's raised through proper parliamentary procedures, I see no reason at all why there shouldn't be a debate. But if the opposition continues to behave in the way they do, jumping up like jackrabbits and preventing the House from functioning as they've been doing for the better part of the last 2 years, then how can I have a debate if they won't debate with me?
And the point I'm making is Reliance an untouchable? Is Reliance an untouchable political party?
There's no reason at all why, by using the proper procedures of Parliament, the opposition cannot ensure that there is a debate on these issues. And I'm sure that we would welcome an opportunity to debate it, but not in terms of one BJP man or a woman making a speech and then all of them walking out of the house or walking into the well of the house. Not that way. Let's leave it there. Some diplomatic, let them get some parliamentary manners.
Point taken. Let's leave it at that. I appreciate all my guests joining us on our talking point. Arvind Kejriwal forces you to debate Robert Vadra one day and Mukesh Ambani the next. He's breaking the Omerta code, some would say, of silence on certain key people in our society. Editor's take, where do we stand? By raising the Reliance name and dragging both the Congress and the BJP into the controversy, Arvind Kejriwal has once again tried to raise the stakes in his war against the system. This is not the first time the charges have been made, and few will doubt that crony capitalism does thrive. But what may seem to some as a symbol of a cozy nexus may be seen by others as an engine of growth. Clearly, the time has come for a vigorous debate on complex issues like gas pricing and energy security. Let's take a break at this point. Up next on India at 9, we'll bring you today's other big story. Cyclone Neelam hits near Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu. Wind speeds are touching 100 kilometers per hour. 3,500 people evacuated.
आज का अवसर भारतवर्ष के लिए बड़ा दुख, शोक और शर्म का है.
And also coming up on the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, we have procured a rare audio recording of the great man on the day Mahatma died. Welcome back. Let's turn to the other big story today. Cyclone Neelam has hit the Tamil Nadu coast near Mahabalipuram. One person is dead now. A crew member of a stranded ship drowned after a lifeboat carrying him and 21 colleagues capsized. The Met Department says Neelam could weaken now and the rains could come down in the next 24 hours. Wind speeds went up to 100 kilometers per hour in some areas where the cyclone made a landfall. 3,500 people now evacuated from Mahabalipuram have been taken to relief centers. 5 coastal districts in Andhra Pradesh are also on high alert.
The cyclonic storm Neelam started crossing near Mahabalipuram at 16:30 hours of IST update. Now it is expected to move in a west-northwesterly direction. Because of its movement in the land, it is likely to weaken gradually. The rainfall belt itself may shift northwards. So the rainfall will gradually decrease as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned.
Okay, let's go straight across to our correspondent Meenakshi Mahadevan joining us there from at the moment. Meenakshi, give us a sense at the moment, is the worst over or is there a sense that the worst is yet to come?
It certainly looks like the worst is over, Rajdeep. We are being told by the Met Department that the landfall is complete and the system will show signs of weakening very soon. Over the next 6 to 8 hours, it should weaken into a deep depression and then a depression gradually and move away. We're being told that situation is under control at Mahabalipuram as well. The rescue center where the shelters where about 3,500 people are kept will be kept there for the next 24 hours. They want to still monitor the situation. The Met Department also stating that heavy rains could continue for the next 10 to 12 hours. The wind speeds though are still pretty high, may not be as high as 100 kilometers per hour, but still high 60 to 70 kilometers at the moment. We're still not able to go near the coast. Large amounts of sand have been pushed out, and the winds are so heavy that that area has been completely cordoned off. But still, the situation definitely looking in control. We have only got news of one death of that one crew member from that ship. Otherwise, no loss of lives. Only trees getting uprooted here and there and falling down. But situation pretty much under control, and the worst seems to have gone past.
Okay, Meenakshi Mahadevan, you're updating us. Remember, you can also, Meenakshi is tweeting at the moment, and you can log on to her tweet account, Meenakshi Mahadevan, and get more reports on what is happening there in Chennai and the southern coast. Thanks very much, Meenakshi. Up next, Sagrika Ghosh is interviewing the woman who's making the news today, Sunanda Pushkar. We'll be having that special interview with Shashi Tharoor's wife on the allegations and the charges that Narendra Modi made against her. That's coming up in a moment from now. But we want to end today with a special tribute to a very special great Indian. It's the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel today. We leave you tonight with a rare audio recording of his pain-filled reaction to Mahatma Gandhi's assassination. There are many fake Sardars today. There was only one, Sardar Patel. Good night, goodbye.
मेरा दिल दर्द से भरा हुआ है, क्या कहूँ क्या न कहूँ, जुबान चलती नहीं है। आज का अवसर भारतवर्ष के लिए बड़ा दुख, शोक और शर्म का है। आज 4 बजे मैं उनके पास गया था और 1 घंटे तक मैंने बात की। वो घड़ी निकाल के मुझको कहने लगे कि मेरा प्रार्थना का समय हो गया है, अब मुझको जाने दीजिए। तो भगवान के मंदिर के तरफ अपने हमेश के समय पर चलने निकल पड़े। तब मैं वहां से मेरे मकान पर जा रहा था। मैं मकान पर पहुंचा नहीं, उतने में रास्ते में मेरे पास एक भाई आया। उसने कहा कि एक नौजवान हिंदू ने गांधी जी को प्रार्थना की जगह पर जाते अपनी पिस्तौल चला के 3 गोली चलाई